Good morning. Well, it may not be morning when you watch this, but it's morning for me. How you doing? So first, I want to acknowledge the protests and the drama that's taking place right now. And I had this thought yesterday I wanted to point out a couple of things. One, because I'm keeping up with the Diddy trial, I know that they have also been protesting in New York. But the only protest they are making a big deal of on the media is in LA. That's where the current administration chose to focus their efforts in trying to squash the protests, right? However, let's think back to the past 6 months, shall we? It's almost like he was trying his darndest to get us out there, right? Just continuing stripping away our identity in this country, our history, our contributions. And we was like, we ain't doing it. So he couldn't get the black folk to cooperate. So now he's going even harder on the brown folk. And now the protests are getting worse. And now they're sending in National Guard. Mind you, a few months ago when it was majority of our white brothers and sisters out there protesting, there was no National Guard. Very telling, is it not, of the intentions. Now, I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I talked about this on TikTok a few months ago. The Bible tells us to pray for those in authority, for it is God that has put them there, for whatever reason it may be. It could be to bring discomfort on a people for intentional reasons. It could also be to bring prosperity to a people. In this case, I think, personally, not saying this is what the Lord has shared with me, that we were intended to be sitting under a quote-unquote pharaoh for obvious reasons. We're a country that claims to be a Christian country, and yet there's hardly any Christ anywhere. It took me a long time to accept the fact that people can talk about God all day long, but if Jesus does not come out their mouth, that's not Christianity, okay? You may believe in one God, but do you believe in Jesus as Christ? And that's what Christianity is, followers of Christ. So, yeah, I think we got it twisted a little bit, y'all. Not a little, a lot. And I think we need to remember that it is black women who are most likely on our faces for the past 8 months interceding for this country. I know I did. I was in a state of grief and intercession for 2 or 3 months after the election results, grieving for this country, because I just, on a carnal, natural level, I couldn't believe that people were still in that mind space after all these decades. It hurt my heart. It truly hurt my heart. But the undercurrent never changed, y'all. It was what we could see on the surface. It's like that iceberg that you can see just the tip of the iceberg over the water. But the mass below the water is what really matters. And that's how it is in our country. So because we know that the undercurrent, or that huge mass underneath, is based on domination and individuality and greed, humanism, we know this, and yet we keep putting people in the places of decision making and problem solving that cooperate with that undercurrent as opposed to not. I remember after the election results, a lot of people were talking about, well, I'm going to say a lot of Caucasian people and even Latinos and Latinas. We should have listened to black women. And then we decided we was going to rest. And we decided the rest is resistance. And we decided that rest can be anything, not just sleeping and getting our nails done and sitting in hot tubs, or having, shopping excursions with our girlfriends and brunch. No. Rest was also empowering ourselves, educating ourselves, being reminded of our history, being reminded of the state of this world today, being reminded of who our God actually is and where the power of our community actually stems from. Looking back to our ancestors, looking back to the lives that our elders had to live and endure, looking at what we are participating and creating in for our future, our young people. That's what we've had to do as a community. Get back to supporting each other, supporting black business, supporting black organizations and ministries, initiatives to empower and uplift the community that is for the most part considered the most marginalized of all. And that's facts. So I will give y'all my personal update, but this is on my heart this morning, okay? All right, so going back to this one, I am going to read a little bit out of it for you all. And I am in the chapter about black women specifically, and it's called Say Her Name. Okay? Black women are more likely than black men to turn to their faith to cope with abuse, racism, and sexism. While black men and women are both more religious than white men and women. According to a Pew Research survey, 80% of black women answered that religion was very important to them, compared with 69% of black men. Moreover, 78% of black men believe in God with absolute certainty versus 86% of black women. Results from a study published in the Journal for the Scientific Study of Religion show that religious guidance and being active with the religious community moderate the efforts of racism on psychological distress, offsetting but not buffering the effects of discrimination. Just pray on it is often the advice that black women give each other and others to deal with their life's burdens. Strong belief in an omnipotent, I always struggle to say that word, y'all. Omniscient, omnipresent God who would never leave us or forsake us is how many of us endure. The black church is a place of refuge where you know your blackness is unconditionally accepted. You are uplifted and supported and leave Sunday service with the strength to survive another week. Faith without works is dead. It is the combination of our faith and persistent work for justice that has brought us this far. Black women are able to thrive in spite of centuries of denigration. What does that mean? And the next session is about black women and body image. So I definitely want to cover that another day. But what is that saying? That's saying that maybe that's where some of our superpower comes from, is from our faith. You think? I think. So, update this morning, I stuck to my routine. Y'all remember I told you, if you keep it simple, you should be able to stick to it. So I stuck to my routine, woke up, had my 10 gulps of water, drank my protein shake, had my 30 grams within 30 minutes, took my supplements, pulled myself together. Yesterday I worked out with Joe. This morning I'm going to get on the treadmill and do some light weights. I did stick to fasting from around 12:30 yesterday until this morning when I had my protein shake. So that was pretty much almost 18 hours, and I intend to do the same today. I have an open window from 6 a.m. until noon-ish, and then leave it be, only consuming water, unsweetened tea, until tomorrow morning when I'm ready to have my shake, to stick with the routine and do it again. Okay? So if you make it simple, you can stick to it, but giving yourself the grace and the flexibility to shift if you need to without beating yourself up. This whole drill sergeant mentality that I used to have when it came to getting my weight down or accomplishing my goals is short-lived, because all we're doing is stressing ourselves out, which is increasing. For me, it would be increasing the holding of weight as opposed to releasing it, not to mention making me miserable. So loosen up a little bit, sis. Make your routine as simple as possible, and don't forget to declutter your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings about the process, right? About how you're seeing yourself. When you go to look in that mirror, are you feeling good about who you see? Are you smiling at yourself when you see yourself? Do you feel a sense of joy like when you look at your newborn baby, right? Are you talking to yourself kindly, giving yourself seemingly unnecessary but very necessary praises and love and gushing and pampering? We want other people to do this for us, but it's so much better when it comes from us doing it for ourselves. So I encourage you, my sister, to practice that, okay? As far as grounding is concerned today, I am still on Romans 12:2. But this time, instead of the renewing of the mind part, what was jumping out to me was the do not conform to the pattern of this world. Do not conform to the ways of this culture. Do not conform to the ways of empire. Do not conform to the expectations and the societal norms of this world. And that doesn't mean that you have to live and walk in a world where you are drawing attention to yourself and absolutely taboo. It comes literally, y'all, from the mindset and your perspective. If you are looking at each other, yourself and the world through the eyes of what society tells you to see, then you are conforming to the pattern of that world. What I want us to do is to be aware of what culture, what society is saying. And then I want us to be aware of the biblical truth of that, which would be God's truth, God's will, right? I think that is absolutely vital, y'all. One, to us being less stressed out about what's going on that we can't change, and being more focused on what we can change, which would be ourselves, and then how we affect and influence and impact those around us and the world around us. So, can we be impactful in a system that we are not necessarily cooperating with? Can we? What do you think? Just a thought to ponder. But for me, the weeks are ticking away, y'all. We are almost done with this week. We are halfway done with this week, which will be another week down until I will be full-time entrepreneur ministry. I have done pretty much all of my content for this week. Tonight, nope. Today is not Thursday. It's Thursday when you're watching it. So tonight, we will be having the first Unmasked series, Sisters Unbothered live Q&A. in the Substack. And there's part of me that's like, maybe I should move away from Substack because I think people are just hesitant to download another app. However, Substack does not have the algorithm issues and the information stealing issues that some of the other most popular apps have. So I love Substack. I love the people that are on there. The community is very, very grateful to be in a space where it's not about a system telling us what we want to see, but it's more so about us developing the community that we really want. And yes, there are a lot of writers on Substack, and yes, you also have independent journalists like Joy Reid, Don Lemon, what's Ginger's name? I can't think of it right now. A lot of the top independent journalists that you see on TikTok are actually on Substack as well. So I don't think it's a bad thing to add that to your repertoire of social media. And even if you're only getting on there to interact with the Sisters Unbothered and the Unbothered Resistance, that's fine. But you might find your people on there as well, outside of our community, of course. So I'm not going to move it from Substack. Okay, I will continue to post content across all platforms, but I will keep the community building on the Substack. And so any of the calls that you want to be on, the Q&A live session on Thursday nights, or the group coaching on Saturday, all of that information, any of the handouts and so forth, free content will be included in the Substack. Okay? All right. Well, that's it for me. I appreciate y'all and your interaction. I pray that you will like, share, and subscribe. I pray that you will share the Unmasked series with any woman that you think would benefit from it. Why? One, because I am building here, not just on top of what I've already built over the years, but shifting and transitioning into a space where I can actually create cash flow and not just give from my heart, because it matters to me and it matters to God. And people are hurting. Women are hurting and they need to be heard. They need to be seen, especially Black women. So that's the sole foundation. But sis needs to make a living, y'all. I need to sell books. I need to sell coaching programs, and I need to build my subscribership. So if you would please click the link in the description, join the Unmasked series. When you get the welcome email, all of the information will be in there to access everything. And I will see you on the first live call this evening. All right. I appreciate y'all. Are y'all praying for me? I'm praying for you. And I may not know you individually, but I love you. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.